Hi swarmers! Welcome back to the hive. This time in my kitchen. Layla would like to extend a very warm welcome to our kitchen. Isn't that right? Trust me, she's enthused. Okay. Today, we wanted to share with you one of our favorite low carbon footprint recipes to keep you flying through 2021 with sustainability on the mind. And hey, maybe you can cook it with your honey for Valentine's Day or Friends and Times Day, whatever it is you're celebrating. We will be making, drumroll please, a vegan nut roast. This dish also makes an amazing meal for your meat-free Mondays. Remember, literally every activity you participate in and everything you purchase or consume has a carbon footprint. Our carbon footprint is a measure of how much greenhouse gases we're contributing to the atmosphere, and it has a direct effect on climate change. In order to live sustainably, we each need to contribute no more than 13.1 pounds or 5.9 kilograms of GHGs measured in CO2e, that's carbon dioxide equivalent, each day. So with regards to what we eat, the main things to keep in mind while shopping for the ingredients with the lowest carbon footprint are how they're grown, where they come from, seasonality, packaging, refrigeration, and shelf life. Substitutions are essential for living sustainably. So when an ingredient is clearly not the most sustainable option, be it because of excessive packaging or place of origin, seasonality, or farming techniques, the ability to make a substitution is a powerful tool in the fight against climate change. Substituting is also a great way to get creative and prevent food waste in the process. When you can, always choose to substitute with something you already have versus buying something new. Now that you have all of the most sustainable ingredients, cooking those sustainable ingredients also adds to their carbon footprint based on the cooking times, methods, and tools. Now remember, cooking tools that employ electricity, like a crock pot or a microwave, are going to be much less carbon intensive than those that rely on fossil fuels, like a gas-run stove or your oven. So let's get cooking. For today's vegan nut roast, you are going to need 1 onion diced, 2 cloves of garlic, minced, 1.5 cups of veggie stock, just 1 tablespoon of flour, which is probably good because I don't have a lot of it, approximately 5 mushrooms, halved and sliced. Now the recipe calls for button mushrooms, but I already had baby bella mushrooms, so that's what we're working with today because sustainability is all about working with what you already have. Also, I love mushrooms, so I definitely did more than 5. 3 cups of breadcrumbs, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1/4 tablespoon of each oregano, dried thyme leaves, and dried rosemary, 1.5 cups of ground up nuts, whatever nuts you love or like or have around. I have walnuts, that's what we're working with, and I'm gonna grind these babies up in just a second. So I just ground up the walnuts in my NutriBullet, and it worked great. So voila, 1.5 cups of ground walnuts. A little salt and pepper, of course. And 2 tablespoons of olive or vegetable oil, plus a little extra for basting. Important tip, wow, those onions, they aren't kidding around. Keep your compost bin, keep your compost bin or pile, or for us, it's a bag that we keep in the freezer, out with you while you're cooking, so you can easily throw your scraps on in there. I'm not crying, you're crying. Oh, don't forget to preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius. First, add a generous pour of your oil into your baking dish. It should be enough to create like a shallow little pool in about a medium-sized baking dish. So I've got my little shallow pool of olive oil in my dish. I'm gonna stick it in the oven. Next, I'm gonna get a pan going with about 2 tablespoons of oil, and I'm gonna start with just the onions on low heat, simmering until they get nice and soft. And once those onions look nice and soft, we're gonna add the garlic and the mushrooms. Just same thing until those soften up, and try not to let the garlic brown. Once you're feeling good about your saucepan mixture of onions, mushrooms, and garlic, you're gonna add your 1 tablespoon of flour to the mixture and stir until nice and combined. So that's what you're looking for here. Next, we're gonna add our 1.5 cups of vegetable stock slowly and stir continuously while we pour it in. Once you pour that veggie stock in, you're gonna try and bring it all to a boil. And once it gets to a boil, you'll bring it back down to a simmer for about 3 minutes. After those 3 minutes of simmering are up, you're gonna add all the rest of the ingredients. So the nuts, the breadcrumbs, soy sauce, herbs, and salt and pepper to taste. So after lots of stirring, here is what we're working with now. A much more baked loaf-looking concoction. So I'm going to take that loaf-like concoction out of the saucepan and then knead it into a super well-floured surface, like maybe I'm gonna use my cutting board, and bring it into a more loaf-like shape. So remember that baking dish with the oil that's been heating in the oven this whole time? Yeah, once you have your cute little loaf-looking thing, you're going to place it in that baking dish and brush it with some of that preheated oil. And once you've given a good brush, you're going to put it in the oven to bake for 30 to 35 minutes, taking it out periodically to continue to brush it. So I'm gonna set my timer for 10 minutes, 3 times, so that I am reminded to continue to take it out and brush some more oil on there and put it back in. In the meantime, I'm gonna clean up the kitchen. Just pulled this bad boy out of the oven. Perfectly crispy on the outside, but nice and soft in the inside. I cannot wait to dig in. Let's give it a try. It tastes like stuffing. That is some vegan comfort food. And you know what else? Pairs really well with wine. So, based on sourcing everything as locally and organically as possible, the total carbon footprint of this dish, and I mean total, from everything from packaging to transport to cooking time to disposal, is 23.9 pounds of CO2 for 8 servings. That's 3 pounds of CO2 for each serving. Since you want to stay below 13.1 pounds of CO2 emissions per day, this vegan nut roast will surely fit into your low carbon footprint lifestyle. Enjoy it with a side of your favorite roasted veggies or some fresh baked bread or biscuits. Just be sure to account for the carbon footprint of any added items, which you can do really easily with our app. Let's compare this vegan nut roast to some more traditional festive eats for 8 servings, again considering you source everything as locally and organically as possible and accounting for everything from packaging to transport to cooking to disposal. An 8-pound turkey weighs in at 12.3 pounds of CO2 per serving. A 4-pound ham weighs in at 6.4 pounds per serving. An 8-pound prime rib weighs in at 12.2 pounds of CO2 per serving. 3 racks of lamb weigh in at 5.2 pounds of CO2 per serving. It's safe to say that our vegan nut roast is the winner when it comes to lowest carbon footprint. Swarmers, we are so grateful you are here with us on this journey, here in my kitchen with me on this journey. It's always a blast and we are so grateful for you. Hope you are enjoying your 2021 and that you're embracing it with lots of love and hope and of course, sustainability. Thank you for joining us as always, and we will see you next time. Enjoy! Wow. Do not try this at home. I mean, the whole point of this video is that you will try this at home, but oh my god.